Kemi, Ayomide, and Bola sat close together on the soft, fluffy couch in the cozy living room. The golden rays of sunlight streamed in through the windows, casting a warm glow on their faces as they giggled and swiped through their phones. The girls were best friends, practically inseparable, and today, they were on a mission to prepare for Valentine's Day. Kemi's phone screen lit up with a picture of a shiny, curly wig. She held up the phone to show her friends, pointing at the screen with excitement. "I think I need this weaving style," she announced, her eyes sparkling like diamonds. Ayomide leaned closer, examining the picture. "Wow! That's so beautiful," she exclaimed. "You look amazing with it." Bola bent her head to one side, studying the screen thoughtfully. "It's nice, but I think I prefer the straight one I saw earlier. It's sleek and classy." "Oh, wait. Look at this." She quickly swiped her screen and showed the others a pair of sparkly gold shoes. The room erupted with laughter as the three girls scrolled through pictures of wigs, clothes, bags, and shoes, each one more glamorous than the last. They took turns gushing over their dream outfits, their excitement bubbling like soda in a freshly opened bottle. "This Valentine's Day is going to be unforgettable," Ayomide declared, raising her hands dramatically. "We have to look perfect." "And we will," Kemi said confidently. "We just need to place the orders now, so everything arrives on time." The girls nodded in agreement. They spent the next hour carefully picking out the items they wanted. Kemi chose the pixel curl weaving, Ayomide picked a red handbag with gold accents, and Bola settled on a flowy pink dress that shimmered in the light. By the time they were done, their shopping carts were full of wigs, bags, shoes, and clothes. They made their payments, then leaned back on the couch, feeling accomplished. The big day finally arrived, and excitement filled the air. Kemi, Ayomide, and Bola had spent the entire week buzzing with anticipation. When they stepped out of the house, dressed in their brand new outfits, they looked stunning, like stars that had stepped down from the sky. Kemi's pixel curl weaving framed her face perfectly. Ayomide's red handbag gleamed under the sunlight, and Bola's beautiful red dress made her look like a princess. They had chosen to celebrate Valentine's Day at one of the most luxurious hotels in the city, Grand Blossom Suites. The hotel stood tall and majestic, its lights twinkling like a beacon of celebration. The moment they entered, they were hit with a wave of excitement. The entire place seemed alive with joy. Everywhere they looked, couples and groups of friends were laughing, chatting, and taking pictures. The hotel was decorated with red and white balloons, heart-shaped lights, and flowers that filled the air with a sweet fragrance. Soft romantic music played in the background, setting the perfect mood for the day. The girls found a cozy spot in one corner of the grand hall. They ordered a bottle of wine and some snacks, soaking in the atmosphere. People were dressed to impress, and the sound of laughter echoed through the room. The aroma of delicious food from the buffet mixed with the faint scent of roses, making everything feel magical. "This is amazing," Ayomide said, taking a sip of her drink. "It really is," Bola agreed. She leaned back in her chair, watching as a young man presented a bouquet of flowers to his date. The woman squealed with delight, and everyone around clapped and cheered. Kemi smiled. "I told you this was the perfect place to celebrate Valentine's Day." The girls spent the next hour enjoying themselves. They took pictures, shared funny stories, and admired the decorations. The atmosphere inside the hotel buzzed with laughter, clinking glasses, and soft music as two young men, Mike and Kes, strolled into the grand hall. Both of them were dressed to impress. Mike in a sharp blue suit and Kes in a stylish black one. They exuded confidence, and their entrance turned a few heads, but it was the sight of three girls sitting with glasses of wine and barbecue on the table that caught Mike's attention. "Wow!" Mike muttered to Kes as his gaze landed on Bola. "That one right there? Stunning." Kes followed his gaze and smirked. "Go for it, man. I'll hang back." Without wasting time, Mike walked confidently over to the girls. He stopped in front of Bola, his charming smile lighting up his face. "Fine girl, how are you doing?" he said, his voice smooth. Bola glanced up at him, a little taken aback by his sudden approach. "I'm fine," she said politely. "And how's your Valentine's Day going?" he asked, his smile widening. "It's been great so far," Bola replied, sipping her wine. Mike leaned a little closer, lowering his voice. "A fine girl like you shouldn't be sitting here all alone on a special day like this. Be my Val, and I promise to spoil you with enjoyment," he said, his eyes never leaving hers. Bola couldn't help but smile at his boldness, but she quickly replied, "I'm not here alone. My friends are out there dancing." She gestured toward the dance floor, where Kemi and Ayomide were laughing and swaying to the music. Mike nodded, still grinning. "Then bring them along," he said. "The more the merrier." Curious but cautious, Bola excused herself and headed to the dance floor to share the news with her friends. She found Kemi and Ayomide mid-laughter and quickly filled them in on Mike's proposal. "He says there's a big Valentine's party at his house, and we're invited. He told me to bring you two along," Bola said, trying to mask her excitement. Kemi raised an eyebrow. "Do you know him from anywhere?" Bola shook her head. "No, but he seems nice. He said he'll take good care of us." Ayomide's expression darkened. Something about the offer didn't sit right with her. "I don't think we should go," she said firmly. "We don't know this guy or his intentions. What if it's a trap?" "Oh, come on, Ayomide," Bola said, rolling her eyes. "Not everything is a horror movie. He's just inviting us to a party. Besides, it's Valentine's Day. Let's have some fun." Kemi hesitated for a moment before nodding. "I think it'll be fine. Let's go and see what it's about. If anything feels off, we'll leave immediately." But Ayomide wasn't convinced. The strange feeling in her gut wouldn't go away. "I'm not coming," she said. "You two can go, but I'll wait here." Bola and Kemi exchanged glances but didn't argue. They thanked Ayomide for her concern and promised to call her if anything went wrong. Then, they returned to Mike and Kes, who were still seated near their table. "Only one agreed to come with us," Bola announced, her smile making Mike's eyes twinkle with delight. "Perfect," Mike said. Standing up, he gestured for them to follow him. "Let's go." The car is outside. The girls followed Mike and Kes out of the hotel and into the cool evening air. Parked outside was a sleek, white limousine that gleamed under the streetlights. Bola and Kemi gasped in surprise. "Wow," Kemi whispered, her eyes wide. "I've only seen cars like this in movies." "Me too," Bola said, running her hand along the smooth surface of the car. Mike opened the door with a flourish. "Ladies, your chariot awaits." The girls stepped inside, their jaws dropping as they took in the luxurious interior. The seats were made of fine leather and soft neon lights glowed from the ceiling. A small bar stocked with drinks and snacks sat in one corner. It was like nothing they'd ever seen before. "This is amazing," Kemi said, sinking into one of the seats. "Glad you like it," Mike said as he climbed in after them, followed by Kes. The door shut with a soft click, and the limousine began to move. As they drove off into the night, Bola and Kemi couldn't help but feel like they were living a dream. But little did they know, this dream might turn into something else entirely. As the limousine pulled up to a grand house tucked away in a quiet neighborhood, Bola and Kemi couldn't help but admire its beauty. The house was massive, with glowing lights outlining its elegant structure, surrounded by a perfectly manicured garden. But the peacefulness of the area felt eerie. The quietness seemed unnatural, and as they stepped out of the car, a chill ran down their spines. Kemi's heart began to race, and she exchanged a nervous glance with Bola. "Are you sure about this?" she whispered, her voice shaky. Before Bola could respond, Mike waved them forward with his ever-charming smile. "Come inside. The fun is just about to begin," he said enthusiastically. Kes led the way, opening the double doors to reveal a beautifully decorated hall. Red and white balloons floated in the air, and roses adorned every corner. A large sign reading, "Happy Valentine's Day," hung on the wall in golden letters. The room was pristine, almost too perfect, and eerily empty. "This is beautiful," Bola said hesitantly, though her instincts screamed otherwise. Mike and Kes gestured for them to sit down, pouring drinks into crystal glasses. "Relax, enjoy yourselves," Kes said with a grin. Bola took the glass, holding it in her hand but not drinking. Something felt off. The house was too quiet, too empty for a party that was supposedly happening. "I thought he said there would be people celebrating here," Kemi whispered, her eyes darting around the room. She couldn't shake the heavy feeling in her chest. "It's way too quiet, Bola. I'm starting to feel like this was a mistake." "We're not safe." Bola nodded, her discomfort growing. She discreetly pulled out her phone and sent a text message to Ayomide. "We're in danger. Please call for help. I don't think we're safe." Just as Bola hit send, the room suddenly went dark. A thick blindfold was thrown over her eyes, and she felt hands grab her arms. Kemi screamed as she was similarly restrained, her voice echoing in the quiet house. "What is going on?" Kemi cried, struggling against the firm grip of their captors. "Oh my God, what have I put myself into?" Bola shouted, her voice trembling with panic. "Mike! Kes! What's happening?" But there was no response. The blindfolds were tied tightly, and they were dragged into what felt like another room. The air grew colder, and the silence was replaced by a strange humming sound. When the blindfolds were ripped off, Kemi and Bola blinked against the dim light. They found themselves in a dark, windowless room. At the center stood Mike and Kes, dressed in red robes, their faces devoid of the friendly smiles they had worn earlier. Each of them held a large, black calabash in their hands. The air was thick with the scent of burning herbs, and the flickering light of candles cast ominous shadows on the walls. Kemi's chest tightened with fear as she realized the danger they were in. What is this?" she stammered. Mike ignored her, his voice low and steady as he began chanting strange words. Kes joined him, their voices blending into an eerie rhythm. "You are our sacrifice tonight," they said in unison, their eyes cold and emotionless. When Kemi and Bola heard those words, their cries of fear grew louder. "No! Please! Don't do this!" Bola screamed, tears streaming down her face. "This can't be happening!" Kemi cried, "Please let us go!" But the men didn't stop. They repeated the chant, "You are our sacrifice tonight," 3 times, their voices growing louder and more menacing with each repetition. Bola and Kemi hugged each other, trembling as the reality of their situation sank in. The room seemed to close in around them, and the darkness grew heavier. At that moment, they truly believed it was the end. But unknown to the 2 girls, Ayomide had received Bola's message. And while panic initially gripped her, she was already thinking of a way to save her friends. Back at home, Ayomide sat on the couch, her heart pounding as she reread the message from Bola. The words, "We're in danger," echoed in her mind. Her hands trembled as she quickly grabbed her phone and rushed out of the house. She couldn't ignore her instincts. She knew something terrible was happening. She ran to the nearest police station, her breath coming in short gasps. When she burst through the doors, she barely managed to explain the situation. "Please, my friends are in trouble. They've been taken to a strange house by 2 men. I think their lives are in danger." The officers immediately took her seriously. One of them, a tall, stern-looking man named Officer James, asked her to stay calm. "Do you have any idea where this house is?" he asked. Ayomide nodded, recalling the route Bola had described earlier that day. They were picked up in a white limousine, and it went toward Blossom Street. "I think I can help you find the place." Within minutes, Ayomide and a team of officers were in their patrol vehicles, speeding toward the location. Ayomide guided them through the streets, her heart racing as she silently prayed that her friends were still alive. When they arrived at the grand house, the officers parked their vehicles quietly. The house, with its glowing lights and tranquil surroundings, seemed peaceful from the outside, but Ayomide knew the darkness that lurked within. The officers moved with precision, splitting into two groups to surround the property. Guns drawn, they approached the front door, their boots crunching softly against the gravel. Ayomide stayed behind, watching with bated breath as the officers worked swiftly. Inside the house, Mike and Kes were in the middle of their chilling ritual. They had no idea what was about to happen. Suddenly, the front door burst open with a loud crash, and the sound of heavy footsteps filled the air. "Police! Hands in the air!" Officer James shouted, his voice booming. Mike and Kes froze, their red robes billowing, as they turned to face the intruders. The sight of armed officers storming into the room left them stunned. "If you move, I'll shoot," Officer James warned, his weapon trained on the two men. "Hands up, now!" Mike dropped the calabash he was holding, and it shattered on the floor. Kes hesitated for a moment, his eyes darting around as if considering an escape, but he quickly realized there was no way out. Both men slowly raised their hands, their faces pale with shock and fear. Meanwhile, two officers rushed to untie Kemi and Bola, who were sobbing uncontrollably. Their blindfolds were removed, and the ropes around their wrists fell to the ground. "It's over now. You're safe," one of the officers said gently, helping them to their feet. Kemi and Bola hugged each other, tears streaming down their faces. They could hardly believe they had been rescued. Mike and Kes were handcuffed and escorted out of the house, their once confident demeanor replaced with looks of defeat. As they were led past Ayomide, she glared at them with a mix of anger and relief. "You will pay for what you tried to do," she said, her voice steady despite the fear that lingered in her heart. The three girls were reunited outside the house, and Kemi and Bola immediately hugged Ayomide tightly. "Thank you," Bola whispered, her voice breaking. "You saved our lives." Ayomide smiled weakly, holding back tears of her own. "I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. You're my friends." The police assured the girls that Mike and Kes would face justice for their actions. The three of them were driven home safely, the nightmare finally behind them. As they sat together in their living room later that night, exhausted but alive, Kemi broke the silence. "We've learned a lesson today. Never trust strangers, no matter how nice they seem." Bola nodded, her eyes still red from crying. "I'm just glad we made it out alive." Ayomide looked at her friends, a soft smile on her face. "We're stronger together, and from now on, we'll always look out for each other." Though the ordeal had shaken them to their core, it also strengthened their bond. They knew they had been given a second chance, and they would never take their safety or their friendship for granted again. That is the end of my story. But my advice for you is this: the world is full of people who wear masks of kindness to hide their true intentions. Never judge someone by their wealth, charm, or appearance. It's important to take time to know people and trust your instincts when something feels off. In every group of friends, there's always one who seems overly cautious or hesitant. Sometimes that caution is the shield that saves the day. Ayomide trusted her intuition and acted when it mattered most. Value the voice of reason among your friends. It could protect you when danger is near. True friends look out for one another. When Bola and Kemi were in danger, Ayomide didn't hesitate to act, even though she was scared herself. Friendship isn't just about sharing laughter. It's about standing strong for each other when times are tough. Whether it's a stranger's kind words or an invitation that seems too good to be true, remember, not everyone has your best interests at heart. As the elders say, a fly that refuses to heed advice follows the corpse into the grave. Courage and wisdom are a powerful pair. It's not enough to feel fear. You must act with courage and wisdom. Ayomide could have ignored her instincts, but she chose to seek help. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. Dear friends, let us be like Ayomide, wise, brave, and protective of the ones we care about. And let us learn from Bola and Kemi. Never let the glitter of the world blind you to the dangers beneath. Trust your instincts, value your friendships, and always remember, it is better to be safe than sorry. Oh, Dear friend, let's stroll down a bit to see what Valentine is all about. Valentine is not all about expensive gifts, fancy dinners, or extravagant outings. It's not about impressing others with material things, or chasing fleeting moments of excitement. Valentine is not about losing yourself in temporary pleasures, or trusting strangers who appear charming but have hidden motives. But Valentine is about love, care, and genuine connection. It's about appreciating the people who truly matter in your life, your family, friends, and loved ones. It's about kindness, selflessness, and acts of compassion that come from the heart. Valentine is about trust, loyalty, and showing those around you that they are valued and cherished. True Valentine is found in the little things: a thoughtful word, a caring gesture, and the willingness to protect and stand by those you love. It's about creating moments that strengthen relationships, not just celebrating for a day, but cultivating love that lasts a lifetime. May your Valentine's Day be filled with genuine love, meaningful connections, and moments that truly matter. Celebrate the beauty of love in all its forms. Thanks for watching African Stories through Proper Folktale Chronicles. See you in my next episode.